Well, it's a pretty nice day here today, a bit windy, but reasonably nice as far as things go. The task for today is to start doing the annual service on the RV6. And as you can not see there, there's no RV6, so I have to go and fetch it. This will be the first thing that we apply ourselves to, is our condition report. This basically takes the readings as we go. There's a place there to put the engine compressions once I do them. Oil pressure and temperature, barometric pressure of the day, and you sign off on it. I've been using these for the last, I don't know, quite a few years, maybe 10 years or whatever, and it just builds up a history of where the aeroplane is and pretty much how it got there. So let's go and find the RV for starters. We'll take this form with us. I've started covering, this is the underside of one of the upper wings. We'll get back to that later on. But it's looking pretty good so far. The Renegade's up for a spark plug change. All the maintenance is due at once. It's bloody ridiculous. But yeah, so I'll change the spark plugs and on that shortly. If we walk way down here to the next hangar, there's the RV6, look at that. So yeah, let's roll that out, and we need to get ready for the 100 hourly, so I need to capture some of the figures off this sheet. Plus we really need to heat the oil up and get it ready to change. Plus we need the engine warm when we do the compression test. It's not fair to do a compression test on a cold engine, really. So that's where we stand. So let's see how we go. All right, I don't usually do engine run up on the runway, but I'm actually on runway 09 right now. We're richen the mixture up, get up to about 1700 RPM. I'm pulling back on the stick right now. Hey, good, let's go. I'll have to put you down, I think, while we do the takeoff. Now, this is about cruise power, pretty close to cruise power. Reset the G meter. And, okay. We've got about 65% power on right now. We're more or less trimmed. It's a bit of a bumpy day, but that's okay. Now, to do a simple barrel roll, we pull back, get the wings up onto the horizon, and around we go, and I'm kicking in right rudder now as well. And there we are. That was horrible. Get ourselves back down to 4,000 feet. A bit difficult to talk your way through it as you do it. There we are at 4,000 feet. We're sort of descending a little bit. Try and level out there a little bit. Okay. So we pull back, get the wings up onto the horizon about there somewhere, and around we go, kicking in left rudder pedal this time. And there we go. We're still going to altitude in that, but without talking you through it this time. So I can concentrate on what I'm doing. I think the oil's pretty well stirred up now, well enough to change. Let's go back and get in the circuit. I'll get you back on the ground. Sorry about this, but I've already done the engine runs. I just simply couldn't operate the camera and take the engine to full power, not safely anyway. I've since brought the aeroplane back here to this hangar. I've taken the cowls off and I'm about to drop the oil out. So we'll pick it up from there. But yeah, I just couldn't do the high power engine runs and record it at the same time. I obviously need a second person. Well, here we are back at the hangar. I've done the engine run-ups. I did the flight. The engine's hot as anything. I'm about to take out the suction screen on the sump and drain a fair bit of the oil out that way. There are another couple of plugs that I can take out to drain the remainder of the oil, but this is where the bulk of it's going to come out. I've already cut the lock wire and loosened the drain plug off, so let's undo it and get the oil out. Should be fun in this wind. There was 6 quarts of oil in the engine this morning, which is, yes, slightly low. You might want to run 6.5, 7. I don't think I've topped any oil. I don't think I've added any oil at all since the last annual service, or the last time I changed the oil. So it doesn't use any oil. Which is unusual. Aeroplane engines generally do, but I don't usually run it above 65% power either. So, you know, you start running high power settings or really low power settings and glaze the cylinders up, then you'll use oil as well. But I think I operated about right. It's got 1,500 and something, 1,530 something hours on this engine. And it's still pretty good. We'll find out how good in a few minutes when I do the compression test. But that's it. I mean, it's really difficult to drain the oil. I mean, it's just messy. It's not. There's nothing hard about it. But let's pull these lower spark plugs out and see if we can't do a compression test. Okay, we'll just take these other 2 spark plugs out on this side. This is number 2 cylinder. Where are we? Not very good for videoing, but it's a bit dark, that plug. Not as nice as that first one, but it's still pretty good. So that's number 2. This one's number 4. I do put anti-seize on these threads as well after I clean them. I'll clean them in a minute or later on, whenever, this afternoon or whatever. I'll clean them. That one looks pretty, it's too dark here. That looks pretty wonderful as well. So I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with all 4 of them, as a matter of fact. This is my It's called a differential pressure tester, or cylinder pressure tester, okay. The objective here is to supply a known pressure just from a compressor that I've got over the other side there. We put in a known pressure, which in this case we put in 80 psi. There's a valve in the middle, and in here somewhere there's an orifice. Somewhere in there between the two is an orifice that lets a certain amount of air through to the other, that'll eventually go out and off to the cylinder, out through this hose to the cylinder. Now, obviously, if the cylinder's working properly, the rings, for instance, and the piston and everything else, it'll stop most of that air from going through. So the two gauges should read close to being similar. Yeah, if that makes any sense. But the more wear you have in the piston cylinder ring combination, the more air that's going to pass through into the crankcase, and the more differential you're going to have between the two gauges. This is how aeroplane compression's been done since Adam played fullback for the Israelites, because it's a bit too difficult to plug a normal car type compression tester in and have 6 foot of propeller whizzing around right next to your scone, and the chances of getting damaged with that are pretty good. So let's do one, and you'll probably see what I'm gibbering about, hopefully. So step one on this deal is to screw this fitting into the spark plug hole where we just took the spark plug out. Right there. Doesn't need to be ridiculously tight, just tighten it up a little bit. There's an O-ring to seal it. Oh, maybe it's got to go a fair bit further. Fair enough. There we are. Doesn't need to be super duper tight. Now, I'm just going to have to move you out of the way of the propeller arc, because I'm about to turn the propeller. Now, just on that subject, I'll move you back here where you can see what's going on, hopefully. With aeroplane propellers, you try and always turn them in the direction of rotation. Now, this engine at the moment can't fire. It can't, accidentally fire because it's got no spark plugs in the bottom cylinders. It's still, pretty good practice to treat them as being sort of live anyway. All right, let's make a start. Now, first of all, we want to make sure that the cylinder we're testing is at top dead centre on a compression stroke. In other words, we want both inlet and exhaust valve closed while we're doing this test. And the piston up near the top. So in order to do that, all I do is put my finger over the end of the hose that connects to the instruments, turn the engine in the direction of rotation. That's the impulse coupling firing. Oh, here we come. We come up onto compression now. That's pretty close to being top dead centre, somewhere around in that vicinity. Now, when I put the air on, I'm soon going to find out if the propeller wants to turn. If the propeller is happy not to turn, then I'm probably at top dead centre. So we'll take our instruments. We can connect that. We can connect it up. Now, on the supply gauge, we're going to put 80 psi and see what comes out on the secondary one. And we open that little valve very slowly. And as soon as we start to see pressure rising, we grab the propeller. Okay, that's the happy spot for the propeller. It's not trying to turn one way or the other. It's fairly happy there. We can open this little valve up more. We've got very, very, very close to 80 and 76 on this gauge. So this one's about 76. The other one is just tiniest little bit under 80. We can jack that up a little bit. If we jack it up the right way, there it is, spot on 80, and this one is spot on 76. So the pressure in number 2 cylinder is 76. We write that on our piece of paper. We can turn this off. Now if we try to turn the propeller, it might turn a little bit, but that's it. There's no pressure causing it to turn. Now we do the next one. Okay, so we'll disconnect these instruments and we'll move this red hose onto the next cylinder. And I'll write that 76 down first. Just in case you wanted a second opinion, let's do this second cylinder. Remember, this hose is plugged into cylinder number 4 now. Put our finger over the end of the hose, turn the prop in the direction of rotation. Yeah, you can hear that. And that's about where top dead center should be. That's where it was on the previous cylinder, so it's got to be somewhere very, very close to the same position on the next cylinder. So let's connect our instruments up. Bit tricky to do one-handed, but anyway, we can manage. There's the pressure rising there. The prop doesn't really want to go one way or the other. That's pretty close to where it wants to be. We're supplying 80, spot on 80, and we're getting 70. A little bit over 76 this time, maybe, let's call it 77. It's about 76 and a half. Yeah, can you see that? So this cylinder's good as well. Shut that off, drop the pressure, and that's it, disconnect. Get you up around this way, around the front here where you can see what's going on, and about there somewhere, rather than try and get you in the middle of the action, and I'll do the other 2 cylinders. Well, that concludes the pressure test, the differential cylinder pressure test. I think the standard acceptable is 80% of the 80 psi that's supplied. So 80% of 80 is about 64. So 64 is the cutoff. Well, all of those were 70. 2 of them were 76 and 2 of them were 77. So well above the 64 anyway. So, and they're consistent. They're within 1 psi of each other. So I'm very happy with that. Let's move along to the next exciting episode, which is I don't know. We can do magneto timing, I guess, at this point in time. Let's do that. I'll be back. Instead of doing the timing, I can do that anytime the engine doesn't have to be warm. I decided to take the oil filter off instead, and that'll allow a little bit more oil to drain, because I want to get rid of that bucket of oil from under the aeroplane. So we'll get that first. While that's still draining, I want to cut this oil filter open and inspect the element. So come with me. Here's the oil filter in the vise. I use this thing, which is a filter cutter. It's just like a big can opener. We can't afford to use an angle grinder or anything else because we don't want to get metal particles inside the filter when we're actually inspecting to look for metal particles. So this simply goes on here like a can opener. This little wheel that you might or might not be able to see, it travels around and cuts the filter open. So let's adjust it up so that it's touching and start cutting. You can buy these at most, car shops, performance shops, and it's just like a tube cutter, except it's a great big tube. Almost. There we go. Look at that. Simple as that. Take the filter cutter off. It's done its thing now. Put it away till next time. Oh, that was good. Good call. The filter can then come apart. This is the bit we're interested in, and particularly those pleated, this is a pleated paper element. The flow is from the outside in, so if there's any particles, they'll be in here, not inside the pleats coming the other way. So let's cut that up and have a look, see what it looks like. I'll get back to you. Now we can start cutting just a piece of this element out. I've just got my trusty Swissy, and we just cut some of those convolutions out. Like that. Like that. And maybe here somewhere like that. Should be able to peel it out. this is the side we're interested in. And there we go. Perfecto. Might have to take it out into the sun, so that you get a bit better look at what's in the pleats. Get you around. Matter of fact, probably around this way, with the sun behind us. Maybe. Maybe. And we're looking for metal particles in these pleats. There'll probably be some carbon pieces like that. Yeah, that's soft carbon. That's nothing to worry about. There's no shiny bits. I can't see any shiny bits in there. With the new engine, you may get some bits of swarf and things that are left over from the manufacturing process for the first couple of oil changes, but after that it should settle down to be something like what I'm showing you right here. That's beautiful. That's just soft carbon. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No. And this is the clean side, and as you see, it is a lot cleaner, or as you may be able to see. Yeah. So that's good. We'll sign off on that one as well, that the oil filter's good, and the oil's just about finished draining, so I can drop that oil in the bucket from the drain pan, the green drain pan, into that drum and take it for disposal.